On the day I went to pick up the wedding rings, I discovered that the custom rings I ordered came as a pair. One is mine. The other belongs to Ava, the college girl my boyfriend has been supporting. I took the rings to confront him, only to overhear him on the phone saying, "Help me buy an apartment under your name for Ava, make sure Sadie doesn't find out." I couldn't hear the response on the other end, but his voice turned hoarse as he said, "I love her. I could never give up Ava." Later, I completely let him go and gave my blessing to their relationship. Knowing there were two identical wedding rings, my heart ached as if pricked by needles. This ring was designed by me personally. Inside the band were engraved the date we met and both our names. And inside the other ring were also their names and the date they met. I thought it was something profoundly meaningful and unique for both of us. But I never expected that I would end up being a complete clown. I smiled bitterly and put back the ring that belonged to them. As I turned to leave, I casually threw my own ring into the trash can. I walked away, trying to calm my emotions. Walking out of the jewelry store, cooled by the slightly chilly breeze, my muddled mind gradually cleared. Just as I was about to call Charles and question him about the ring, I saw the message he had sent 3 minutes ago. He said he was waiting for me at a nearby Chinese restaurant. I glanced around and headed toward the eatery. Along the way, my mind was restless, thinking about how to confront him later. When I arrived at the destination, I followed the waiter's guidance. There, I saw Charles standing by the window, his back to me, talking on the phone. His voice was low as he said, "Help me buy a house for Ava under your name. Don't let Sadie find out." Hearing this, the last thread of restraint in my mind snapped. So, it was just as I had suspected, their relationship wasn't simple at all. Then what about me? What am I supposed to be? I watched that familiar figure's back, suddenly feeling a sense of unfamiliarity. I couldn't hear what was said on the other end of the phone. He said hoarsely, "I love her, I could never give up Ava." Those words were like a basin of ice water mixed with 1,000-year-old ice, drenching me to the core. It also completely calmed me down. Since he loves Ava so much, I might as well let him have her. With that thought, I restrained my surging emotions, raised my hand, and knocked on the door. Hearing the sound, he hung up the phone instantly and turned around to look. Seeing me standing at the door, a fleeting panic flashed in Charles's eyes. "How long have you been here?" I smiled and said, "Just got here." "Who were you talking to on the phone?" He stared at me, carefully observing my expression. Seeing no emotional changes in me, he secretly sighed in relief. He walked toward me and pulled out the chair closest to me. It was a call from the company, reminding me about an afternoon meeting and telling me to head back early. I nodded without exposing his clumsy excuse. "Then let's serve the dishes. Eat early and head back soon." He called the waiter to bring the food and looked at me. "How's the ring? Did it meet your expectations?" The smile on my face faded slightly as I nodded perfunctorily. "It's quite nice, but there's one thing that really surprised me, my custom-made ring actually has an identical twin." I didn't say more. Charles's eyes flickered slightly, his expression somewhat unnatural. "There must be some mistake. I'll go check this afternoon." I didn't comment on this. But my heart grew completely cold. He stared straight at me, as if wondering why I was being so unusually quiet today. After all, when we're together, I'm usually the one who talks the most. I used to love sharing amusing things I encountered with him. Loved chattering nonstop by his ear. At first he was very patient, often offering comments here and there. Later, when Ava graduated from high school and came here, he grew increasingly impatient. Sometimes before I could even finish speaking, he would deliberately change the subject or directly interrupt me, saying, "Girls are cuter when they talk less. Speak less and be quiet." In the past, whenever he said such things, I would always show anger. But he never comforted me. He simply let me vent my emotions alone. Looking back now, how foolish I was in those days. His change in attitude was so obvious, why didn't I notice it sooner? Charles and I were childhood sweethearts. We've known each other since kindergarten. Our parents liked each other very much. When we were little, our families even arranged a marriage agreement for us. Charles and I always knew we would get married. So we were both very conscious of it and tried our best not to interact with the opposite sex. But Ava was an exception. Sponsoring her was my idea. The first time I saw her, she was emaciated, much thinner than her peers. But she had a sweet tongue, always obediently calling me sister whenever she saw me. I wanted to help her escape the impoverished area. But my pocket money wasn't much, so I begged Charles to join me in helping her. At first, Charles was extremely reluctant, saying, "I don't have time to indulge you in these meaningless activities." Later, I was involved in a serious car accident. He pleaded with many people, and despite never being superstitious, he climbed 3,000 steps to pray and observe a vegetarian fast for my recovery. Then he heard that doing good deeds could accumulate merit for me, so he began sponsoring Ava, who came from a poor background. Within days, I was out of danger. Back then he jokingly told me that Ava was my lucky star and I should treat her well. So, I treated her like my own little sister. I gave her everything I had. Never did I expect that I was bringing a wolf into my house, personally sharpening a knife that would later stab me in the back. The thought killed my appetite, and I barely took a few bites before putting down my chopsticks. Noticing this, Charles asked, "Is the food not to your taste?" At a glance, I noticed many dishes on the table were loaded with chili peppers. And me? I can't handle spicy food. He realized this too, looking apologetic as he said, "I'm sorry, I forgot you can't eat spicy." I opened my mouth, about to bring up the breakup. Then a familiar, coquettish voice came from the doorway. "Charles." Ava pushed open the door in a beautiful white dress, her face lit up with smiles. When she saw me, she paused briefly before quickly brightening again. "Oh, Sadie's here too." Her smile for me was far less radiant than the one she reserved for Charles. On closer inspection, you could even detect a hint of perfunctoriness in it. I gave her a glance but remained silent. Charles furrowed his brows and chided, "When will you ever learn to knock before entering?" Though it sounded like a complaint, there was more helplessness in her tone. Ava flashed a playful smile. "I forgot, okay? I'll be more careful next time. Sadie, can I join you guys for lunch? I'm starving after class." Though her words were directed at me, her gaze remained firmly fixed on Charles. Before I could respond, Charles spoke up, "Come eat if you're hungry. See if there's anything else you'd like to order." Ava naturally took the seat to his right, beaming as she said, "No need, you already ordered so many of my favorites." His words made Charles's expression freeze for a second, and he instinctively looked at me. My emotions remained unchanged, my expression calm. "If you like it, eat more." Only after I said this did his expression soften, though his eyes now held a hint of curiosity. "Sadie, if there's anything you'd like to eat, just order it." Charles handed me the menu, but I declined with a smile. "No, I saw something disgusting this morning. Right now, I just feel like throwing up, I have no appetite." His brows furrowed slightly. "What was it?" I pretended to be casual. "Oh, just my friend's boyfriend. He was cheating, eating the meal she cooked while also dining with his mistress. Today his stomach ulcer ruptured, and he had to get surgery. My friend sent me a photo of it, absolutely revolting. People with such moral depravity deserve to die without a burial place, don't you think, Charles?" I smiled, but Charles's face turned extremely grim. He choked for a moment before agreeing, "Why yes, that's right." Ava didn't look too pleased either, her smile strained. "Sadie, maybe that guy had already lost feelings for his girlfriend. Isn't it unfair to say that? If he lost feelings, why didn't he break up before finding the next one? Ava, you're still young, you don't understand men these days. If he truly liked that other woman, he wouldn't have kept stringing her along while refusing to break up with his girlfriend, making the person he supposedly loves live as some dirty little secret." I cursed bluntly, and Ava's face darkened completely, with a hint of guilt faintly visible in her eyes. A cold sneer rose in my heart. Charles looked displeased and interrupted me impatiently. These are other people's matters. Why are you meddling in them? That's true, I believe you wouldn't be such a person, Charles. I responded with a smile, leaving him speechless. Until the gathering ended, Ava didn't glance at me again. Charles offered to take me home, but I refused. He said, then I'll take Ava back to school. You be careful on your way home. No need, Charles. You should take Sadie home. I can take a taxi back to school. Ava smiled bashfully, speaking with cautious hesitation. Completely unlike her usual open demeanor. Perhaps she was afraid I'd discover their shameful secret. After all, if I found out, I'd cut off her financial support. People are greedy by nature. She couldn't bear to let go of Charles, nor relinquish my generosity toward her. She simply wanted to have it all. I didn't have time to refuse when Charles spoke coldly, with an undeniable air of authority. Sadie can go back by herself, there's no need for you to worry. As for you, your school is in such a remote area, it's not safe to take a taxi. I'll drive you. Ava glanced at me apologetically and naturally opened the passenger door. Then I won't stand on ceremony, she said, rolling down the window to wave at me. Goodbye, Sadie. Be safe on your way. I watched them leave, my expression gradually darkening. Though I had acted tough in the moment, deep down, I still felt terrible. Charles and I have known each other for 20 years. I never thought the worst traits of men would manifest in him. Or perhaps he hid them so well that I never noticed. I smiled self-deprecatingly and went home. In the evening, Charles came back very late. When he arrived, he reeked of alcohol. I was lying on the sofa watching TV, and when I saw him return, I just clicked the remote to change the channel. Charles staggered over, taking off his coat as he walked. When he reached the sofa, he tossed a delicate gift box over. This is the latest bag on the market. I had someone get it for you. See if you like it. He was tipsy and came over wanting to hug me. I subtly avoided his embrace and hopped onto another single sofa. He stumbled into empty air and looked at me in surprise. You smell too much of alcohol, you should go take a bath first. Charles lowered his head and sniffed, then stood up silently. He took his pajamas and went to the bathroom to wash up. Bored out of my mind, I unwrapped the gift box. Only then did I realize it was a light green bag with a fresh, delicate style. Clearly, this kind of cute design was perfect for those bright and cheerful young girls. I pursed my lips and put the bag back in its place. Then I opened my phone and started scrolling through videos, accidentally coming across a slightly familiar account. I paused for a second and clicked to check it out. This blogger posted nothing but snippets of her daily life. She never appeared on camera, but the surroundings in the background looked all too familiar. Back when Ava started her freshman year, I went to help her move in and knew exactly how her dorm was laid out. The background in the video was identical to her dorm room. As I scrolled through, I realized that some of her videos weren't filmed in the dorm. Instead, they were shot in the apartment we live in now. He had actually brought her home without my knowledge. Suddenly, I remembered what he said on the phone earlier today. He had someone buy an apartment for Ava. My fingers trembled as I kept scrolling through one video after another. Looking closely, I noticed something: every bag, accessory, and skincare product that appeared in her videos, I own too. And all of these things were bought for me by Charles. Panicking, I rushed barefoot into the walk-in closet. I compared the items in the videos with mine and checked the upload dates. It suddenly became clear to me. All the things Charles bought for me, he had replicated exactly the same for Ava. Just like before, whatever I had, she had too. At this thought, I suddenly felt a wave of nausea rising within me. I laughed, and as I laughed, tears slipped from the corners of my eyes. The sincerity I had poured out had, in this moment, turned into nothing but a joke. I couldn't understand why he would treat me this way. If he didn't love me anymore, he could have just broken up with me. Why did he have to disgust me like this? I clenched my fists tightly, struggling to suppress the surging anger. I took out my phone and photographed everything in front of me, then saved each of the videos Ava had posted one by one. My relationship with Charles isn't just about affection, it also involves the interests of our two companies and the goodwill between our parents. Breaking up is not a simple matter. But with Ava's video, things became much simpler. Afterward, I calmed my emotions and walked out of the room. Charles was hurriedly changing his clothes. Seeing me come out, he said anxiously, "There's been an exhibitionist reported near Ava's school, and the person hasn't been caught yet. It's not safe for her there. I'm going to pick her up and let her stay here tonight." This wasn't a discussion, it was a declaration. I looked at him coldly and said, "Charles, if you walk out that door today, we're done." Hearing this, his movements halted, his deep dark eyes burning with anger. "Sadie, what do you mean by that? Was I not clear enough?" Charles let out a humorless laugh, casting a cold glance. "Stop being unreasonable. I have something very important to attend to right now." Before I could respond, he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Yet he didn't realize my words weren't meant to make him stay, they were a gamble. Clearly, I lost to another woman. The moment he left, I immediately started packing my belongings. I took everything he'd ever given me with me. Consider this compensation for all the years of my youth he's wasted. I have a car in the garage. After packing my things, I drove straight home. Luckily, my parents are still traveling abroad, so I'm the only one at home now. After washing up, I compiled all the evidence of Charles's infidelity and dumped it in the family group chat. Our family has a very good relationship with Charles's parents. Our two families share a common group chat with quite a few people in it. There are many night owls in the group, so my message caused quite a stir the moment I sent it. I ignored their questions and simply stated, "Charles and I have broken up. The wedding is cancelled." The next second, Charles messaged me privately. "Sadie, you deleted the message. What are you trying to do? Where are you? I'll come find you so we can talk properly." I didn't reply to his message, instead blocking and deleting him. Then, Ava sent me a message. "Sadie, I know I've wronged you, but Charles and I truly love each other. If you have any grievances, take them out on me, don't hurt Charles." I didn't reply to her message. Instead, I took a screenshot and posted it in the group chat. I've never been one to suffer in silence. If they didn't care about keeping things civil, I saw no reason to protect their reputation. After I shared the screenshot, both my parents called me, asking what had happened. I didn't hide anything and told them everything I had discovered. My mother was so angry that she immediately bought a plane ticket, determined to come back and stand up for me. I, however, didn't think it was necessary and was about to persuade her not to come. Charles's mother sent me a message, saying, "Sadie, come over for dinner tomorrow. I'll make sure Charles gives you an explanation." I didn't want to go at first, but she mentioned that Charles's grandfather had also learned about the matter and that the old man wanted to see me. So I didn't refuse. The next morning, my assistant called me. "Boss, it's time for the monthly allowance again. How much should we give Ava this month?" "No need to give her any," I replied, then added, "From now on, don't give her any living expenses at all. She's being taken care of by someone else." Ava had long since lost her previous simplicity. After starting university, she didn't apply for poverty subsidies, let alone consider working part-time to support her studies. Instead, she developed a taste for luxury goods, decked out from head to toe in name brands. I had long wanted to stop supporting her, but considering she still had paralyzed parents and a mentally disabled brother, I never made up my mind. But now, she probably wouldn't even appreciate the help I offer. So why should I go out of my way to humiliate myself? After wrapping up the matters, I returned to the company. Ever since I graduated from university, my dad has been gradually handing over the company's affairs to me. Now he's in a semi-retired state, traveling everywhere with my mom. As a result, I spend most of my time tied up with work. This time, I rushed back to the company, not even waiting to sit down. Charles pushed the door open and entered. His face was filled with anger, his voice cold and heavy. "Sadie, Do you realize that when you posted those screenshots in the group chat yesterday, Grandpa almost had a heart attack from anger? His appearance was no surprise to me. My expression remained unchanged as I looked at him coldly, cutting him off. What does that have to do with me? It was you who did those despicable things, not me. The one who should feel ashamed is you. Stop acting crazy here. If there's nothing else, please leave. I have matters to attend to. Charles was left speechless by my words. He rubbed his temples and his attitude softened. He said softly, "Sadie, this is all a misunderstanding. I see Ava as a sister, there's nothing between us. When you come to my house today, talk to them properly and don't drag her into this. I'll pretend yesterday never happened, and we'll get married as planned." Hearing this, I felt instantly sick. What kind of mindset did he have to be able to say something like that? I looked at him with disgust. "Charles, do you really think I can't live without you? He's the one who betrayed our relationship. What right does he have to speak to me in that tone?" Charles pinched the bridge of his nose wearily, softening his tone. "Sadie, I know you're angry right now, but please don't act on impulse. You know our families have extensive business collaborations, and our parents are close friends. It wouldn't be worth damaging their relationship over our personal issues. Then why didn't you think about hurting our family's relationship when you did those things? You're the one who made mistakes, not me." At this point, his emotions suddenly flared up. "Yes, I made a mistake, but what man doesn't seek companionship outside? Ava could never threaten your position, you'll always be the only missus in my life. And besides, can you guarantee that any other man would remain loyal to you forever? Sadie, we're adults now, not naive children anymore. You shouldn't always see things so simplistically." Hearing his words, I almost laughed out loud. An icy chill flashed in my eyes as my voice turned cold. All this talk is just your attempt to ease your own guilty conscience. When it comes down to it, you're just an ordinary, selfish man. It was my mistake to waste so much time with you back then. Now I'm done. Marry whoever you want, it's none of my business. If you don't want to become a laughingstock, leave on your own. Don't make me call security to escort you out. I'm narrow-minded and can't tolerate even a grain of sand in my eye. Especially when that grain of sand was dug up by my own hands." Seeing that he couldn't reason with me, Charles turned and left in anger. In the afternoon, I arrived at Charles's house as promised. The moment I entered, I saw Charles kneeling in the hall. Charles's grandfather sat upright on the sofa, his face exuding an intimidating authority without needing to show anger. I walked over slowly and softly called out, "Grandfather." When Charles's grandfather saw me, his stern expression softened. He then said to me, "Sadie, I know everything about your situation. I asked you here today to give you an explanation. Charles has done wrong and deserves punishment. Tell me how you'd like to punish him." His words clearly took a stance, wanting to let this matter pass so easily. In the past, I would have taken the out he offered. But not now. I shook my head. "Grandpa, Charles and I have broken up. These are your family matters, and I have no right to interfere." As soon as these words fell, the atmosphere in the room instantly froze. Charles's mother was so anxious she kept pacing in place. Several times she seemed about to say something to me, but each time Charles's grandfather stopped her with a look. "Sadie, have you thought this through? Marriage isn't child's play. If it really ends, there's no turning back." Charles's grandfather had just finished speaking when Charles suddenly looked up at me, his eyes filled with tension and unease. Before I could say anything, he spoke first, his voice hoarse as he said, "Sadie, I'll cut all ties with her and never interact with her again. Can you forgive me this once?" "That's right, Sadie. Charles already knows he was wrong. Give him another chance. If he ever does something this foolish again, you won't even have to say anything, I won't let him off the hook." Charles's mother hurriedly took my hand, repeatedly making promises to me. On the way here, my mom had already called me, urging me to stay calm and not let this incident affect the friendship between our families. I took a deep breath and gave a perfunctory response. Later, they insisted I stay for dinner, but I made up an excuse and left. After returning home, I removed Charles's contact from my blacklist. I told him, I won't be coming to your place anymore. You need to clarify things between us with your family. I maintain my previous stance, we've already broken up. Don't come looking for me again. I was busy with work every day and had little time to rest, so I didn't want to waste it on such matters. After sending the message, I blocked him again. And for good measure, I left that so-called family group chat. I thought Charles wasn't the type to cling desperately. But I underestimated him. The next day, I overslept and was rushing to the office when I ran into him on the street, holding a bag of breakfast. Charles was dressed in simple casual wear, walking toward me with ease. Only when he got closer did I realize his outfit was the matching couple set I had bought him. Back then, when I gave it to him, he called it childish and never wore it once. What brings you here? Here's breakfast for you. Have some, don't starve your stomach. His tone was gentle, his expression completely natural. As if nothing had happened. I gave him a cold look before turning away in disgust. Charles, didn't I make myself clear enough? Or do you just enjoy playing dumb? Sadie, we shouldn't have come to this. I'll do as I promised, cut things off with Ava. From now on, you're the only one by my side. No need. I rejected him instantly, watching his expression freeze before adding, I find it disgusting. With that, I walked past him and hurried toward where my car was parked. Seeing him about to follow, I immediately started the engine and sped out of the parking lot. Today must be my unlucky day. The moment I arrived at the company, I saw Ava waiting at the entrance. My eyes filled with impatience as I tried to walk past her. Yet she quickly chased after me, Sadie, please listen. I know what Charles and I did was wrong, and I'm truly sorry. I never meant to hurt you, I've always seen you as my own sister. This whole situation breaks my heart. Hearing this, I stopped in my tracks and turned back to her with a mocking smile. By that logic, just how depraved must your morals be to set your sights on your sister's boyfriend? Ava's face alternated between pale and flushed as she tightly clutched the hem of her clothes, seemingly struggling to continue the conversation. I gave her a detached glance, then suddenly froze. Now I finally understood why Charles had worn that childish casual outfit. Because the set Ava had on right now was mine, matching his as a couple set. Just thinking about it makes me unable to even crack a smile. I clearly broke up to make way for them, why do they insist on shamelessly pushing their luck? Ava, do you think you're innocent? And no. Sadie, if you're upset about something, take it out on me. I just hope it doesn't affect your friendship with Charles. I let out a cold laugh. You overestimate yourself. Someone like you isn't even worth my attention. Cheating is like domestic violence, it either happens 0 times or countless times. This time, Charles couldn't resist the temptation and got together with her. Next time, he could easily do the same with someone else. To me, a man without moral principles is no different from a stinking rock in a latrine. Only someone like her would think she's found a treasure. Ava's face flushed red as I spoke. Sadie, I know you look down on poor people like me, but I'm trying my best to change myself. I won't forget how you helped me before, but I truly love Charles. The man you think is worthless is like a priceless treasure to me. I hope you'll stop speaking about him that way in the future. Her words were both nonsensical and laughable. I almost laughed at her, you like him? I never stopped you, haven't I already stepped aside for you too? What more do you want? Should I set off fireworks to celebrate? Dressed in sleek office attire, my mere presence radiated more authority than hers. My tone carried a condescending edge as I spoke. Combined with the glistening tears welling up in her eyes, anyone watching would have thought I was bullying her. I was just about to tell her not to waste my precious time when Charles suddenly appeared out of nowhere. He stepped protectively in front of Ava, his handsome face tense and unyielding. Though his gaze held displeasure when looking at me, he remained silent before turning to examine her up and down. In a very soft voice, he asked her, "Were you bullied?" Ava shook her head and said coyly, I'm fine, I just came to talk with Sadie. Charles, don't worry, Sadie wouldn't do anything to me. Charles didn't believe her and looked up at me. Sadie, whatever issues we have between us, don't drag her into it. If there's something you want to discuss, you can talk to me. Seeing them shift the blame onto each other, I curled my lips in self-mockery. It reminded me of the past, back in college when we used to skip class to go out and have fun. At that time, he was already gradually getting involved in the family business, swamped and overwhelmed. He complained to me more than once about the stress and how badly he needed to unwind. So I skipped class and took him out for a break. But we got caught by both sets of parents on our way back. They kept asking us whose idea it was to skip class and go out. Not wanting to burden him, I was about to say it was me when he pointed at me and said, "It was Sadie who dragged me out." That time, Charles's family didn't look too pleased, but considering the relationship between our families, they didn't blame me. I had thought it was indeed my fault, so I didn't resent him for exposing me. Instead, I believed he was quite selfless and impartial. But now it seems he's not at all the person I imagined him to be. His not protecting me might simply have been because he didn't like me. I curled my lip coldly and said, "I have nothing to discuss with you. She's the one who came begging for trouble. I don't have time to waste here with you, so if there's nothing else, get lost." Not giving them time to react, I quickly walked toward the elevator. As I stepped in, some inexplicable impulse made me glance back at where I'd been standing, only to find the spot already empty. I composed myself and looked away. Back in the office, my assistant brought me a project proposal. It was for an amusement park project I'd originally planned to collaborate with Charles on. Thinking it over now, I dismissed the idea. Every time we work together, our profits are minimal, he always takes the lion's share. Because his uncle, who was developing business abroad, is about to return to the country, he urgently needs to prove himself, otherwise, the board members might not continue to support him. Now that we've broken up, there's no need to consider his interests anymore. Change the collaborator for this project. Put out the word anyone interested can come negotiate. The assistant widened his eyes in shock. Boss, wasn't it agreed that we'd collaborate with Charles's company? Aside from ongoing projects, we won't consider Charles anymore. More paths mean more opportunities for growth, don't limit ourselves to just one. The assistant looked at me, hesitating before finally speaking up. But, weren't you and Charles about to get married? I smiled slightly and shook my head. We broke up. A simple sentence revealed quite a bit of information. In this cutthroat business world, relationships are either alliances through marriage or rivalries. Genuine friendships that develop are exceedingly rare. The assistant naturally understood this principle. Understood, I'll make arrangements immediately. However, I just received a message from Ava. She tactfully asked if we'd forgotten to transfer the money. Even the assistant felt exasperated while relaying this. Let's block her phone number. From now on, she has nothing more to do with us. After handling the arrangements, I threw myself into work. Ava was too proud, she would never ask Charles for money directly. She had always lived extravagantly, never once considering the importance of saving. Now that I've stopped supporting her, she's practically penniless. So when my assistant told me she saw an identical bag to mine being sold on a second-hand platform, I wasn't surprised at all. Boss, if I didn't know you were wealthy, I'd think it was you selling second-hand items on there. The assistant was utterly shocked and sighed. Who could argue? Charles really understood the concept of treating everyone equally. Everything he gave me, Ava got too, from large appliances to small lipsticks. Some people around me noticed the account she used to sell second-hand items on the platform and came to tease me, asking if I was short on money. In response to these jokes, I deliberately posted a donation video on the thread. Everything Charles bought for me, I converted into cash and donated to various impoverished areas. Of course, all under my own name. I even received an honorary award for it. As soon as the video was posted, more questions arose. What's going on? If that blogger isn't you, then who is? How does she have everything you have? Some of those items are even limited editions that require connections to purchase. Exactly. That diamond necklace she listed on the second-hand platform, I wanted to buy it too, but there were only 2 in the entire world. I wasn't fast enough to grab one, and now someone's reselling it second-hand. People with real money wouldn't do something like this, it's so tacky. That blogger opposite probably stole it from somewhere. I didn't respond to these comments. But to my surprise, they ended up reposting my video and even took the opportunity to praise me for being beautiful and kind-hearted. Though I knew it was all flattery, I have to admit, it felt rather nice. Word spread within the circle, and eventually, Charles found out. He confronted Ava immediately, demanding to know why she had done this. Ava tearfully defended herself. Sadie now hates me to the bone. She stopped supporting me, and I have no money left. There are so many mouths to feed at home, I can't just watch them starve, can I? Charles would never let someone he cared about suffer financially. He gave Ava money to have all those posts deleted. When I checked again, they were already gone. The circle isn't large, news spreads quickly. The announcement of my broken engagement with Charles soon became common knowledge. Everyone speculated why a couple with such deep affection would reach the point of calling off the wedding. Many came fishing for details, but I brushed them off with "we fell out of love." After all, being betrayed is humiliating, whether you're a man or a woman. However, Ava didn't see it that way. As soon as news of our broken engagement got out, she had Charles accompany her to various events, making sure everyone knew about her relationship with him. When friends mentioned it to me, I just laughed it off and didn't think much of it. That is, until issues arose with the money I had donated. My assistant told me that the place I was helping was actually Ava's hometown. When the officials went door to door to investigate, they found that Ava's hometown was already in ruins, completely deserted. After asking around, they learned that Ava's family had passed away one after another during her sophomore year of high school. So in the end, all the money I donated to her family ended up in her pocket alone. My assistant couldn't help but laugh in disbelief when reporting this. "Boss, I've never seen someone so skilled at swindling money." She really opened my eyes. Yeah, I even called her family during last year's New Year, and someone answered the phone back then. Thinking about it now, those people who answered might have been hired from somewhere just to deceive me. At this thought, I shuddered instantly. Her schemes run really deep, I hadn't seen through them all these years. Before I could even digest this fact, I heard another piece of news. Charles took Ava home, but Charles's grandfather kicked them both out, gifts and all. Hearing this, I didn't know whether to laugh or say they deserved it. After that, I focused all my attention on the company and stopped listening to any news about him. But I overlooked one thing: when someone has no shame, they're truly invincible. Charles came to see me again, but not to reconcile, he wanted my help. "Sadie, Grandpa always liked you best. Could you put in a good word for Ava? I'll make sure to repay this favor." "Are you out of your mind? Asking me to speak up for a homewrecker?" He frowned. "Don't put it so harshly. Get out if you don't want to hear harsh words." His deep black eyes fixed on me, filled with exhaustion. "Sadie, do you know the biggest difference between you and Ava? Her heart isn't as cold as yours. After graduation, you went straight to your family's company to inherit the business, completely forgetting I existed. When I was sick, it wasn't you by my side, it was her." At the mention of Ava, a smile flickered in his eyes. She had just arrived here back then and didn't know her way around at all, but when she found out I was sick, she rushed over from school in a hurry. She fed me medicine, made congee for me. In that moment, I realized that I, too, was cared for by someone. I nearly laughed in anger. That day was etched in my memory too, because I was the one who brought the cold medicine, the one who cooked the congee. But by the time I finished, he was still asleep, and I had to rush back to the office for an emergency meeting. I didn't expect a momentary oversight to give someone an opening. But since it happened so long ago, there's no need to bring it up again. "So, she loves you that much? Then you'd better not let her down," I said with a detached expression. "Sadie, she's truly a wonderful girl. For the sake of all these years we've known each other, please help her. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. Charles, come find me again when you've developed some brains, alright? I didn't want to listen to his nonsense anymore, so I walked past him and left. Later, at the company celebration banquet, I noticed the person in charge of the project had changed from Charles to his uncle. Only then did I learn that Charles had been rejected by his entire family for wanting to marry Ava. Charles's grandfather pressured him as the heir. Between being the heir and his lover, Charles decisively chose what he believed to be love. When I found out about this, I almost couldn't stop myself from telling his family to take him for a brain check. Later on, I still married into their family. Except it wasn't Charles, it was his uncle instead. On the day of my engagement to his uncle, Ava disappeared with all of Charles's money. His uncle also gave him a grand gift, the truth I had uncovered. It exposed Ava as a ruthless scammer who would stop at nothing for money. Charles learned the truth and rushed after Ava, only to be involved in a severe car accident on the way, losing both his legs. As for me, I welcomed my brand new life.